Do you guys ever just bring in your vehicle to service for something small and then leave with a huge front end replacement? Because I did. And we're going to talk about it. But first, we're going to go drop off Miss Maple to doggy daycare because she wants to go play. And I need to go to the mountains and snap some pictures of the black rhinos that I got. Got them in exchange for some media and everything so that they can see it on this vehicle. So I just need to take some pictures so that they can use it for their marketing. But after I do that, I might switch back to my HREs with the Toyos. Not because of the black rhinos, but because of the Pirelli XTMs. We'll get into that too. A few months ago, I made an appointment to just get an alignment, and I just kept the appointment even though I got an alignment like 3 months earlier, back in I think June or so. Well, if you know Rivian service, it's good to make an appointment and just keep it, because you never know whenever you're going to need it. That being said, I walk in just to get my alignment, and it was pulling a little bit to the right or whatnot, and then they were like, hey, we're going to need it for about a day or two. And I was like, oh, for why? And they're like, well, we got to do a recall on the headlights, and then they're going to do FSAM, which is like a field service something, on the half shafts. I was like, oh, I didn't even know anything bad about the half shafts. They're like, yeah, there's a select few beginning Trimax second gens, or the Trimax is just a second gen, that needed a new half shaft up front. I was like, okay, cool. So once I got it, alignment was great until I started driving, and then the wheel just started turning to the right. Like, it would go straight, but the wheel would be canted to almost like a 3 o'clock position, and I'm all like, oh, this isn't right. And I was thinking maybe the new wheels and tires that I just put on was causing that. But so I brought it in just one more time, and the guy was really confused. He was like, hey man, I test drove this myself. What is happening? He brought it back, torqued it all down and everything like that, and was like, all right, I'm greatly confused right now. So I drive it. Maybe an hour later, it starts doing the same thing over and over again. I'm like, how? What is wrong? It wasn't doing this before they did the new half shaft. I don't think that was the reasoning behind it. But we brought it in, and, well, let's dive into it a little bit deeper of what they did next. But first, I gotta go drop off the lady. I'm actually meeting up with my sourdough plug right now. They're bringing me a cheddar jalapeno sourdough loaf. So, you know what sounds good? Pho. We should go get some pho. So another thing started happening before I brought it in the second time. It started creaking, and I couldn't figure out why the front end started creaking. And so they started listening to it, and they're like, hey, we're actually kind of confused by it. I was like, hey, I can't get it to do it. Hopefully you guys can do it. It only happens randomly for me, but whenever they brought it into the service bay, they're like, oh, that's really creaky. So I'm assuming something that maybe got over-tightened in the front end whenever they were doing the half shaft or whatnot. But they're like, look, we're going to tear it down and investigate the sound just a little bit more. Well, once they actually started investigating the sound, trying to figure out what it is, it ended up being something with my subframe. What? The subframe? To damage a subframe is kind of hard to do, right? You actually have to, hit something. And I'm all like, I haven't done anything stupid in the past 2-3 months. I haven't done any dumb things. And you guys know me. I will show you guys the dumb stuff that I am doing. But I haven't. And so it was for it to all of a sudden just start to fail, my subframe needs a whole replacement. I don't know what's going on here. Well, it ended up being a caster insert. The caster insert started failing, and they couldn't get it to align without replacing that. And so I had to wait a few days for them to get in the new subframe and everything. I was like, y'all, why did it take a whole new subframe to replace that caster insert? Apparently, it's not something they just piece out and just pull out the insert and then replace it. They had to replace the whole subframe. I'm like, that seems excessive. Just a little bit. While they were also doing that, they ended up rotating my hubs. They take off the wheels and then they rotate the hubs, and if it doesn't spin freely, I guess Rivian's thing to do is to actually like replace the hubs. I'm like, wait a second. Because it's not spinning freely, just throw some WD-40 on that stuff, right? Wrong, I guess. Wrong. Well, they replaced it, and I actually have to go back and ask them about it because it wasn't something that was brought up whenever I picked it up, and that's okay because we're just really focused on the subframe. Well, the word seized wasn't proper. The tech used whenever it was annotated on my notes for the visit, and so if it just doesn't spin freely, they just started doing that lately. What has caused all this? Just like me, my Rivian's kind of thick. Like, whenever I say thick, I mean thick. Now, typically, we're supposed to be able to put 1,750 pounds in this vehicle above its stock weight. Now, that all depends with your battery that you have also. So if you're with your standard pack battery, that's probably where you're at. But since I got the max pack, I'm looking at only 1,500 pounds. Now, let's just say I start at 7,000 pounds with this vehicle. When they weighed it with two techs in the vehicle too, just to simulate people inside the vehicle, it weighed 8,380 pounds. That means my limit is 8,500 pounds. I can only put like another 120 pounds in here, and I will be at the gross weight limit. Ha! Damn. Now, let's just say the two techs were maybe 150 pounds each. I'm 260. Like I said, I'm thick, right? Well, with me being at 260 and I put my dog in there, I'm the same weight as those two techs and with a dog and I. Miss Maple, she's a little thick too. We're working on that. We both are working on that. Typically, overland vehicles are a lot of the times over its limit. They are over the gross weight of most of the builds, and that's almost a guarantee. With all the gear that I end up having, like the stuff that's in the front for like my recovery, my medical, and all this other kind of gear, to include another tent, to my Super Pacific, which is actually loaded with some extra gear too, with the side panels and the Truma heater, propane heater, we start adding up. Now, even my gear slide, that's what, 160 for the slide, and then on top of that, the off-road jack, the Pro Eagle jack with my tool chest, with that fully loaded too. Yeah, we're pushing a good 1,300 pounds by itself. But remember, I have the max pack batteries, so I'm limited to only 150 pounds. Now, most of this doesn't matter on a daily basis if you're just driving on the roads, if you're just driving on little forest roads. But you guys know me. I like to do things that you probably shouldn't be doing in the... Actually, you could do it in the Rivian, but in stock form. So this means that maybe the components can't handle everything. Now, I'm pushing the stuff to the extreme. Like, I'm loading it up to 8,500 pounds because remember, whenever I dropped it off at service, I didn't have all my gear in there. Now, I have two Pelican cases full of, gear with both search and rescue and everything. And I took out a lot of the, like, I didn't have the fridge and everything in here also. So, I am probably at 8,500 pounds. I'm always one of the first ones to be like, listen, just because your car broke, because you're doing dumb stuff, you shouldn't be mad at the vehicle, which I am not mad at the vehicle. I'm not mad at Rivian or anything like that too. Like I say, I'm pushing the envelope on this. I'm doing donuts. I'm going up rocks. I'm going, over logs. I'm doing things, I'm camping with a really nice setup on the back. I'm doing everything that I love to do in this Rivian. And, well, maybe we found the limit. That being said, made it out to Capitol. It is very windy today. Yeah, so I still need to go do the photos and everything, but I may need to redesign this entire vehicle, mainly because it is my business vehicle that I go out and take photos with, use it for my business, real estate media, go from house to house and everything like that. I can't have this thing broken. Now, the reason why I may be going the extreme and redesigning it is because they told me that they're going to replace the subframe this time due to the vehicle being over limited in weight, they won't be able to warranty the subframe again in the future. Now this is going to get pricey. I think just the subframe by itself was like $2,000, not to include the install, like the actual hours it took to actually put it in. So yeah, that could get pricey. It's pretty gnarly out here with the wind today. Not as bad as this weekend where everybody was losing power and stuff, but I think we got some easterly wind coming in at about 40 to 50 miles per hour. Probably not the best place for me to be in the woods, but where I'm at is pretty logged, and that's probably why the wind is a little bit stronger in here instead of like into the trees. Top of the trees, it would be, you know, really strong, and I won't get smushed by trees. That being said, let's kind of like figure out what I might need to do. You guys might not be able to hear me that well, but it's really windy. We're gonna have to change some of this stuff and get blocked by the Super Pacific. Now, what do I use all the time that I can't do without? One, the Super Pacific. I could lose the Super Pacific and just, you know, get myself an iCamper or just go to a ground tent, which is totally fine. A ground tent is more than fine. But we get these Super Pacifics in order to just get into camp and get out of camp real fast, right? It's super nice. It's spectacular. Next thing is my gear slide. You know, with the slide being, you know, say 160 pounds plus whatever is on it and in it, you know, we're pushing 250-ish, maybe in pounds. I could lose that, store the jack in the backpack here, and then my tool chest could just go into a tool bag and not carry as much as what I'm carrying. That could save some weight. Next would be all the stuff that I have in the front, and you know, I could go through and get rid of some of the duplicate things that I have, and I could start dropping the weight that way. Another thing I could do is just lose some weight myself. Let's just say if I lose an extra 50 pounds, that's an extra 50 pounds that I can carry in this vehicle. Now, this is all extreme. I shouldn't really be needing to be stressing out about this too much, but like, I need this vehicle to work whenever I'm out doing search and rescue. And there is times to where I need to load the vehicle with 4 or 5 extra people in order to get the search and rescue ground pounders to their spot. So let's just say if I do throw in another 5 people, let's just say that's an extra 500 pounds. That's going to put me at, I don't know, 9,000 pounds? And I got to say go up a rock or something. Or if I need to do that and it pushes the vehicles to its limits, that will not be good for me and or the people who I'm trying to rescue. So now I got to actually think about like what I actually want to do with the vehicle. What is its purpose? And the 2 main purposes right now for it is search and rescue and my business. Business first, then search and rescue. I just don't know what else to do. If you have any suggestions, tell me in the comments. Let me know on social media. Whenever you're reading it on the website, just go ahead and comment below. Help me not make too many brash mistakes. Let's go inside so it's not so windy. It's a little bit better. It's definitely a little bit windy. Luckily, I'm parked into the wind, and so the wind isn't taking my door off. If I would park backwards, that would yoink my door, and then that would be a whole nother, that's a body shop visit. I won't be able to put on my sliders because my sliders are over 200 pounds. They're actual rock sliders. They're not just like steps. They're not aluminum steps. They're steel. And so I can't put those on, so I can't go do more things with it that way. I can't load the camper with a deck or the bed of the truck with a deck system. Not that I need that, but it's just like I thought about getting that for more storage. But that alone is another 200 to 300 pounds, I think it is. Oh man, what do we do? Well, I could keep the Rivian for my business, and which I am because it's over 6,000 pounds and it is a tax deduction for me and everything like that. I need to keep it, and so it drops me down a tax bracket every single year, which is awesome for the next 4 years because I already did it last year for a percentage. I have the Tacoma, and I can use that for if I need to do long stays out doing search and rescue. But at the same time, I like using my Rivian for search and rescue. It has its benefits, you know, being able to have power on demand, being able to plug in stuff, use the Starlink on it. Yes, I can use this all in the Tacoma, but like I would have to get like a dual battery setup, which I have a dual battery setup in here anyways. And so it's just all like, what do I do? So it's just all like, I think we're at a moment to where I have to decide in carrying either less gear, which I might not use all the gear all the time, or get rid of the Super Pacific. I really like the Super Pacific, but if I'm going out on a mission and I don't need, say, like a tent or something like that, say like it's only going to be, hopefully we're only searching for like a couple hours or whatnot, we're not staying in the mountains for days because we need to, I can have like an iCamper on the back, and you know, that's like 140 pounds, and I can easily take that off and on by myself with like a pulley system at my garage. But this, I have to keep it on all the time, and so one, it hurts my range. It does, without a doubt. I lose anywhere from 10 to 15 to 20% depending on how fast I go. Could get like a Lear cap on the back and then maybe put a tent on the front if I need to, or figure something out to where I can like camp in the back of the truck at the same time. But I have the I have the power tonneau cover, so all the gear inside will still be nice and secure in my Pelican cases. I just don't understand how I went in for a single alignment and I come out with a whole new front end. Like, how does that even happen? You know, first with the half shaft, and then they're like, well, we can't fix your alignment until we fix this caster insert. And I'm like, and it's probably such a small little piece, and if they were able to just replace that small little piece, it wouldn't be that big of an issue, but it is. It is. And so far, the Trimax has been pretty amazing over the past almost year, because at the end of November is when I had it a full year, which is coming around right around the corner. The end of this week is Halloween, so the 31st, and so I love this thing. I'm at 27,000 miles right now, and it has treated me very well. I've done things. I've camped 25 30 nights in this camper. I probably should bring you guys along with me more often whenever I go do those kind of things. I hear that people enjoy watching people camp. Do you? So yeah, that being said, over the next week or two, I am going to be redesigning this entire thing, trying to figure out what would be the best way. I want to keep it to where I'm only carrying about 500 to 700 pounds. But even if so, like, so if we're at 7,000, that'd put me at 7,500, and then 7,700, or let's just say 7,800 with me in it. The camper, you know, that's a good 400 pounds by itself. I don't know, man. I'll figure it out. We will all, and I will let you guys know. I even went with lighter wheels and tires. Like the ones that I have on right now, the Black Rhinos, they are lighter. The all-terrains that I have on right now, the Pirelli XTMs, I do believe are a little bit lighter, but I feel like my wheel and tire setup right now is the same weight as what the OEM Pirellis and OEM wheels are. So we will see. Oh, it's starting to get foggy. Should probably go get these photos done. All right, help me out. Give me ideas. I have to sell my sliders. I'm probably going to sell the gear tunnel slide. And then weigh it from there. I think that's the first two steps that I'm going to do. The sliders aren't even on, but I can make the gear tunnel slide fit somewhere else. So, all right. You guys have a great day. This is everything that has happened. I will post some pictures. In the article, I'll put pictures of what happened at service. So, you guys have a great day.